Hello there, everyone. Welcome back. This is Ellie Naimal with Tempo Africa TV. So, back from our last weekend topic, Diaspora supporting their families back home in Africa, families and friends. So, we want to bring this topic back to you because a lot of our people back home in Africa didn't really get an opportunity to speak their opinion or to give out their input and how they feel about it or what they think we should know as a diaspora here in America. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and that's what we're bringing you today. So if you're on live, this is another moment again. And if you do miss the opportunity to come on live last Saturday, this is another chance. So if even for you, the diaspora, if you have anything you'd like to say that the people in Africa should know, or your experience, what it's like supporting families and friends here, we want to hear your opinion. We want to hear your opinion. So again, this is, we brought up this topic because we want to have a clear understanding between the two cultures. So as we all know that the ideology or the cultural mindset in Africa is completely different to the ones that are here in America. So even if you left Africa at a younger age or still have that cultural mindset and you're here in America, what is the experience like here in America now, trying to, survive, pay your bills, and still financially supporting your families back home in Africa? So this is what it's going to be about, and we would like for you all to come on live and join us. And please, if you have an experience that you'd like to tell us of what it was like, we want to hear your voice, so call in. And then also, if there's a message that you feel like the people over there should hear or should know, call us as well. And also for the people in Africa, we want you to be able to call in also. I know the network difference, the technology, all of that difference there. Call on WhatsApp. So if you have WhatsApp, type in the number that we have here on the subline, and you can call through that. We'll be able to hear your voice. The whole world will be able to hear your voice. And this is your opinion, or if you want to respond to something that was said already here to the American people, call in. We want to hear your voice. So now we're going to go ahead and get settled in and get everyone active in online. So go on Tempo Africa TV page. Go ahead and share the message and share this moment so that everyone can be involved as much as possible. And this is everyone, whether you're in America, Canada, Europe, or in Africa itself, or Australia. Yeah, please. We want to hear your voice. So also, I like to give you a little overview from last weekend. It was phenomenally amazing. I was pretty impressed of how many calls we got in and how many people gave in their opinions. And a lot of them were absolutely amazing. I know we covered majority of the topics. A lot of people, said what they felt, which relate to what's going on in the world. So that was the main thing that we wanted to get out there, and it was successful. So I'm very happy. I'm very glad. Tempo Africa TV here with our producer Malik. We are very happy that we are able to get that message out there, because that's what this is all about. So Tempo Africa TV is about promoting our voices to be heard, so that we can be able to connect from both worlds and also change ideas as well. Because at some point, either we go back to our country, or the people in Africa gets an opportunity to come to America here and finally have an understanding of the different culture dynamic. So that's what we want to bring to you. And so we're going to go ahead and start everything live. And if you are watching, please go ahead and check out the Facebook link. And if you have anything you want to say, feel free to call in. But right now, I'm just going to go through overview of the things that we already went through last Saturday and give you a little bit more insight of the whole topic. So we'll be right back. Stay queued while everyone prepare up for it. Let's see. So Malik, are we ready to go ahead and hop everybody in? I know it kind of, we want to be able to see the comments here. I don't know if anyone can see them, but I see some of you that are participating right now. And if you can hear me, I don't know if any of you got a chance to see the last weekend talk show. And this is about Diaspora supporting their families and friends in Africa. As a Diaspora, we want to hear your voice of what that experience is like. I know there was one person who made a highlight where she said, when you support a family back home, for how long can you continue to support them? Because at some point they're gonna keep asking, and then when you don't have anything to give, then they become upset. And situations like that, because there's a miscommunication or a misunderstanding, and for someone to be upset because they didn't get the support they need on time or immediate or as soon as they want it, then they begin to cut you off and no longer, treat you like a sister or a brother. So I'll give you a little bit of my story, what it was like for me. Of course, I'm the only child living here in the United States. All my families are back home. Everybody, my mom, dad, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncle, you name it. And not only that, my father has many children. So there's so many of us. There's so many siblings. So it's a large family to support back home. And it can get a little overwhelming. It can get pretty overwhelming. So, it's something that I have been doing for, I don't know how many years exact now, but since 2012. Since 2012, I've been supporting my families back home, and I promised my father that I would raise the children that were going to school at the time until they go to college. And then from there, now I got to focus on myself, do the things that I need to do, make a living so that I could come back and support them again. And maybe this time around, I will, choose the ones that either has a vision or the ones that are passionate about something that can actually change Africa. Maybe like a talent, or maybe if they're good in making chairs or tables and want to own a furniture store. Things like that is what I definitely would love to invest on if I come back to my family. And hoping that, out of all those siblings, some of the children will come step by step and have something that they like to grow into and pursue. So those are the things that we do want to support so that Africa can grow, so that there's a change, so that we can, see that progress and, I don't know, move back home one day, maybe. So a lot of you guys that I see participating, I'm gonna just shout out some names that I see here. Agi, Falama. So if you wanna come on live, any of you say your opinion, you're more than welcome. Call the number on there, and everyone can hear your voice. And then we have Paya, Marcel participating. Anyone else, even if you're over there in Africa, definitely call the number. So we want to hear your voice. Otherwise, let's continue. Even a comment. If you have a comment or something that you feel like you want to write, we can go ahead and read your comment on here as well. So speaking from some of the really interesting comments that we got, and these were some of the people over there in Africa that says their opinion. And based on these opinions, I'm going to read them off to you, and then I'll give you a little bit of a review of what I think. Here we go. So we had a friend, Duke Williams, who was very active in the last talk show that we had last Saturday, and he made some really interesting comments. And I think his comments should be heard, and a lot of people should really look into this. So here I am. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull up the comments. So bear with me here. I know technology can be a little difficult to deal with, especially if you're new like me. Let's see. So more comments. Okay, not that one right now. All right, so we had a guy last week who called in, and he mentioned something about supporting families back home, but not all of them. That maybe the one that you see that has a potential, focus on that one. It's kind of like a one-on-one support, and I totally agree with that. I could agree with that, and the reason why I agree with it because one-on-one support can actually get someone up there quicker than the whole entire family. So let's say you have about 5 siblings. So out of those 5 siblings or 5 cousins or whatever in that total number, you pick one person that has a potential, focus on that person, and keep supporting them financially until they get where they need to be. And I strongly agree with that. I really do. So I know it might feel a little left out for the other families, but if one person can get the support and get their foot out of the door, at least once they reach their goal and where they need to be, they can come back and help you support 2 more. And once those 2 are out of the door, then 4 more. So the number adds up. And I think that's a good progress way too of also, changing Africa and creating this development as well. So I really respect him for that comment, for coming on live and actually saying that, because that was something I never really thought of personally myself. And I know a lot of us, whenever an auntie calls and say, I need some money, we just send it, or an uncle calls, we just send it. We don't think about, why they're asking or even look further into it. We don't. But the only thing that's done to us is that we don't see a change. So when you don't see a change, that's when you really start looking into the situation and say, okay, if I'm just sending you money, what are you doing with it? Are you actually building something? Are you using it for your talent? Are you using it for your gift? Are your children all graduating with no hunger? Are you building a house? All those changes are what we like to see, because then that encourages to even give more as well. And also honesty and truth. Being able to request and being specific in the request as well, to say, I like to build a house, just for an example. To help someone build a house in Ethiopia, now they have this thing called a deposit, just like here in America. You could pay for a deposit to buy a house, and now they have the same thing in some parts of Africa. I don't know if that's available in all the countries in Africa, but I know in Ethiopia they do have a deposit. So you can pay a deposit, design your house, and things like that. We can help with that deposit to get the house going. Once the house is done and you moved in, they give you the key, then you pay monthly payment, just like we do here. And it's good to be ready and be prepared for it, to know that you have a job, you went to college, you have your degree, you have a job. Once you have a job and you're ready to build your life, then we can come in and help with that deposit, knowing that you're going to be able to stand on your own to make that monthly payment a month. So these are the things that we want to do as an American to help Africa grow. So if you're willing to stand with us and understand that we are available for those starter times, for those really important starting moments, that's what we want to do. And then in that way, we can support when there's an emergency or other things like that. And the reason why I say that too, I want to get this word out there more than anything, especially to all of our families there in Africa, is because here in America, our life is not simple. It's not. So throughout your whole entire 24 hours, something is planned for it. So you work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and then if you have children, you're taking care of your children, or maybe you have a second job. A lot of the Americans either work 2 to 3 jobs, especially if they're supporting families back home, 2 to 3 jobs. And having that many jobs can also take a lot of strain on you because you're losing sleep, you're not getting enough rest, you start having health issues. And things like that, when we want to explain them, it's a little bit difficult to explain, because then the mentality over there is that, well, you're in America and everything is good. But realistically, it is not. Things are good here, but when you have to go out of your way to do extra work or to have a village or a family, then you have to grind more. You have to do more things in order to accomplish that. Just like if an American wants to take a vacation. So to take a vacation, what do you have to do? Work overtime. And in case you guys don't know what an overtime is, an overtime means you're working extra hours that is out of your norms. So with the overtime, you'll be able to make extra money, and that extra money can go on things like supporting a family back home, or taking a vacation if all your family's here in the US, or buying your children something that they've always wished for, like a video game or a TV or anything like that. That's what an overtime is. And a lot of Americans, they work overtime, especially in this age now of 2020. There's so many jobs, there's so many hours available. So, and there's not enough workers as much. So a lot of people are picking up overtime. And the overtime pretty much fills in your relaxation time. It fills in like time you would have to yourself. So that leads to sometimes forgetting yourself and not taking care of yourself very well, or taking care of your hair, or your skin, like things that are important for your health. So it makes it a little harder to do those things. So we want to give this message to you, to all of our people there in Africa, that this is the life we're living here in America. And our goal is, of course, to support back home. But sometimes with the obstacle we go through here, we try to do as much as we can. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back and talk more about this dialogue. We definitely want everyone to be engaged, get involved. We want to hear your voice, your opinion, your experience, even if you're in Africa or here.
Hot mix mixing.
So anyway, I'm gonna go through some of the really funniest comments that we got on our live show last Saturday. Of course, we had a lot of people watching from all over America, all over the world. We had some shout out from Canada, Liberia, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Gambia, South Sudan, and everyone else, even Jackson City, Tennessee. We also had Vancouver, Canada. That was pretty amazing. It was a good turnout. So we had one person that says, the time of the show is bad because almost the whole entire Africa is sleeping right now. Now, reading that comment, I laughed. They're not sleeping right now. They're either out drinking or hanging out with friends. Come on, it's Saturday night. I've been to Ethiopia like almost every year. This is what they do on a Saturday night. Right now, the time in Ethiopia would probably be like around midnight. And usually they don't go to bed until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes even later as like 5 a.m. in the morning. But I know the security is very strong because usually at the night people have their phones in their purses or in their pocket. They don't want to expose this because of the robbery and somebody might snatch your phone out of your hand. Or if they see you, playing with it while you're at the restaurant or the bar, they will follow you and attack you for your phone, especially if it's a smartphone. That's that's what goes on at this time in Africa. Even though we're over here talking about, the culture difference and the dialogue between two different worlds, I know is a little bit harder for them to come in at this time and say their view and their opinion. But we also had some wonderful people who did spoke out for them as well, like you do William, who is currently in Nigeria. And never been outside of Africa. He's always lived. No, he's Nigerian, but I believe he lives in Gambia or Ghana. Actually, Ghana. So he's currently living in Ghana right now. So that's a little experience to know the different cultures, because once you step outside of your country, even if it's to the neighbor countries, you'll have a different perspective instead of what you always know in your own country. So yes, the timing right now, of course, everyone is either busy partying, doing their own thing, keeping their phones in their pockets or in their purses, so that it doesn't get snatched from all the robberies in the street. I know how that is like. So I wouldn't even really expose my phone much either. But if you're in your house and you're watching a movie over there in Africa, join us or say a comment and we'll be able to read it out for you. And we also had someone who's watching from Marlborough, Australia. I appreciate your support. I know over there in Australia, you guys are all doing the same thing. And somebody even mentioned how it's so common too in the Spanish world. And I know a lot of Spanish are supporting their families back in their countries as well. So this is something that a lot of us who are out of their country can relate to. Whether you're from Asia or you're from Middle East or you're from Arabia, you're from Africa, you're from Central America, when you have an opportunity to come to the United States or Europe or other bigger cities where there's jobs, this is the same thing we all go through by supporting our families back home. And it's not just supporting them, giving them money, but it's also helping our countries grow as well. But first, it starts with the mind. Because if the mind hasn't changed and renewed itself and come to what is considered outside of what they know, or if the knowledge is expanded enough, then changes can start happening. So like they say, knowledge is everything. Because if our people back home don't have that much knowledge of what it's like to start a business or be an entrepreneur or being self-sufficient, these are the things we also want to share with them so they have that knowledge as well. Once that knowledge is perceived and it's actually put in action, changes will start happening. So knowledge is everything. Now going down on the comment, and one of the ladies said, personally, I feel like we enable our family back for always giving them money. No one really values what he or she doesn't earn. That is very true, and it is a very strong comment. She said, can one really value what he or she doesn't earn? Okay, I read that wrong. So basically she's saying if you're constantly giving money to someone, it's a free gift. They didn't work for it, they didn't earn it. So the question behind that is, do they value it? It takes a lot for a person to, or to help a person who may understand it, knowing that I am very grateful, I am very thankful, I have the opportunity for this person to give me money, and it's free money. I'm gonna make a value out of it. I'm gonna use it for something so valuable that I could change my life around. Now, someone like that is hard to come around, but they are there, and it's just like one in a million, like one person in a million. But other than that, yes, people don't really value free stuff. And that's a mindset that we do have to get rid of. We can't just take, and then we're not giving back. And we're not expecting you to give back to the person who gives. We want you to give back to yourself. So if you're getting free money, or you're getting that support, use that money for something that you've always wanted to do, whether it is paying for your college so that you can graduate, or whether it's getting the tools that you need for college, like laptop, books, or tablet. And if you have a little bit more extra of what you need, then you can go ahead and get the things that are a little bit more expensive in the country, like laptop, smartphone, those things. Other things, of course, if you want to start a business, in the village, you can go fishing and bring the fish and sell it, make money. These are things that are very self-sufficient, that can help a person grow, to give them that value. So they're adding value to what is given to them. And as an American, if somebody sees somebody adding value to what we give them, they want to give more. That person is going to want to give you more because they see something so amazing in it. So they're going to keep supporting. And so back here to our comment. I know someone said, I appreciate your support and encouragement of points out the facts and the truth of life. Thank you. And I like to say, yes, truth is everything. The truth will set you free. The truth is your way out. So if we're able to communicate freely with truth, then you never know what's really going to change, what's going to come. It's all about the truth. Even if you're guilty, or you're not sure how you want to ask for that support for that somebody, it's all about the truth. Communication is everything. So if you have a request of, starting a store, present that. Put your ideas together. There's a lot of investors out there. There's a lot of sponsors out there that are willing to help and willing to support. But the only main thing that should be understood is that they're looking for someone who has a clear vision, who has a clear vision of what they want to achieve in life, where they want to go, and why I should invest in this person. Especially in Africa right now, there's so many opportunities because everything is growing. There's so much development going on. This is your moment. All the youth generation, the college kids, even those that are just graduating in Africa, this is the moment. If you have an idea, bring it to life. Present it to someone. If you have someone supporting you in America, present it to them. And we'll be able to help with those things. Another comment here, which is also a really good highlight. The one thing that kills us as African, we can't really save even when we try, because we got all the families to support. Little do they know that we're struggling ourselves in this damn cold. Yes, it is really cold. Like here in Minnesota, it is really cold today. We are hitting a -9-degree weather, and it is a struggle because we have to deal with the weather, we have to deal with our cars, mechanic issues, all these things, and it's we don't have time to think about anything else but that moment. And yeah, she made a that was kind of funny though, actually, because it's like back home in Africa, they're crying for you to help them, and they're in a wonderful, beautiful weather every day, all year round. And when you're asking at a time where our butt is freezing off here in America, then we're getting irritated because we're in a really bad critical condition right now. Even though the money might be in the bank, we're not thinking about the money in the bank right now. We're thinking about getting out of this cold and staying out of this cold. So yeah, that's a good point there. And another comment was made. The insecurity in Africa is the root cause of all this problem. We have a long way to go. Our people back home just need to be patient and understanding about our situation here in diaspora. Yes, very true. So that's a message for you over there in Africa. If everything is about understanding, everything is about communication. When your significant others or your family in America or Europe or Australia, wherever they are, tells you that I don't have anything right now, they really don't believe it. If they tell you that this is the time I can support you, give me like a week or a few days or 2 weeks, be patient. Patience is everything. There's a saying that the ones that are worth waiting are worthwhile. So if you're able to wait on something that you want to do, or something that you really need, or things like that, it will come to you sometimes even better. Because that person will see that, wow, you know, they understood what I said. They didn't argue back with it. They didn't try to justify their situation to expedite your process. They understood. And that gives us a really humble, safe situation to let us know that, wow, that person understood. And now if I have this money that they requested, we're gonna send that and maybe add a little extra to that for their appreciation. And that's really how life works, because we have to learn to appreciate each other. We have to learn to understand each other, and we have to learn to be patient with one another. Without patience, nothing can really happen. It'll usually end up just crushing the relationship, because then that person over there doesn't want to wait that long, so they're pissed off at you. So they're gonna go into their dark room or wherever they want to be at the moment and be pissed off of the world or at you or at the situation. And then when they get over it, they'll come back knowing that they already expressed that irritation anyway. And once you explain yourself and there's an understanding, then it makes the situation a lot easier. So that was a good comment there. Another one is, instead of putting it all on our dependent relatives, I think we also own it to ourselves in diaspora, to know our limits and be frank with our relatives, especially in falsely rising their hopes. There are always genuine occasions that one need to invest. Become purely, gosh, I'm forgetting English right now, philanthropic, and ditching money when the one doesn't have a sense of its value. Good comment there. And I would say I do agree with that. So, like the other person commented earlier, if you don't value your free gift, you're not going to put value to it. Like, you just don't care. So when that happens, then it puts us in a situation where it feels like a waste. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Maybe we shouldn't be supporting. We know they need our help. They need our support. But it's not going anywhere. There's no changing it. There's nothing that I can actually have a grip on to say, this is worth doing. So we definitely want to feel like, this is worth it. Continuing on. And then we have some few little shout out here and there, and some of us here, we do have our little girls talk where we do talk about these things and try to bring them out among each other. Us as an American, we do talk about our situations. Because talking about what is bothering you and not having a clear understanding how you should deal with it, talking to one another helps solve the problem. Because then at least it shows you that you're not the only one going through it. And we can all learn from each other as well. Like, hey, this is how I handle my situation, and it worked. It may not work for you, but at least they'll have a different strategy that may work for their family. Because I know in Africa, everybody has their own way of communicating and requesting things. Like one of my friends says in Gambia, if you come to Gambia and you're not dressed up looking like an American, they will laugh at you. Now that's a little bit opposite to where I come from, like Ethiopia. If you're not dressed up like an American, basically they kind of have to guess you blend in with everyone. So you're not really attacked, you're not really looked at or anything like that, unless you tell them that I'm from America. So they appreciate that more and say, wow, you know, you're just like one of us. You're going to sit on the ground and eat with them. You're going to sleep on the handmade hard mattresses just like them. You're going to sit and have your coffee with them. So everything you're doing as if you are a native living in the country. So they appreciate that. Now, when you come dressing up like an American, you're all dolled up, you're all very pretty, and your hair is done, you have like this fancy clothes on or wearing designer stuff, they will laugh at you. Because they're gonna take it as if you are showing off. Like, why are you showing off? That's the expression you're gonna get like in my country, there in the East Africa. Compared to like Gambia, you know, of course, if you come dressed up looking like the American that you are, then everybody wants to be your friend, everyone wants to come to you. But that also gives the signal that I'm an American, and then everybody wants what you have on. They want your hair, they want your clothes, they want your shoes, and this is the general thing for everyone in Africa as well. Going down the comment, we're gonna have more comments, and I'm gonna read them off to you and then give you my answer and my response to that and how we could change and make a better progress. We'll be right back.
Hot mix mixing.
We're going to continue on some of the topics some of the comments that were made, and I'm just going to give back my answers and respond to all of you. So if you are watching live, continue to join us and watch for some of the really interesting comments that were made by a lot of the people that were on live last week. And if you feel like, you know, you have an input or something you want to say or add to it, feel free to say something, because we want to hear everybody's different opinion. And of course, this is about exchanging knowledge between the culture there in Africa and the culture here in America, because the thinking is completely different. The culture is different. The ideology is completely different. So back to it's kind of a long comment, is by Duke William, and he said, "There is this saying from where I come from, that if you are the only rich man in your family, then you are poor and in trouble." So what this is a simple saying that is, a successful person, you must be able to build a support system of other successful family members. Empower as many as you can and obligate them to empower others too. The way the number of successful family members can be more than those who don't want to work, because you'll always have those folks in your family, which is very true. Many times you must look beyond your immediate family and think broader, etc., on a community base. Okay, so based on the saying that if you are the only rich man in your family, then you are poor and in trouble. this is an ideology in Africa, and it's very common. So in Africa, if you're the only rich person in your family, then pretty much, wait, I think it's a little different between the East and the West, because I know, like, as far as in the East, if you're the rich person in your family, majority of the time, everyone will jump on you. So they're gonna try to take their parts and whatever they can out of your wealth. It's very common, but what it usually does is it brings you back down to square one. So you really can't be rich, especially if you have a very large family. If you're the rich person there, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to survive and keep your riches, because everyone is going to come and take their part. Sometimes even by force, even without you really knowing it, because they really know how to play that mind game and that manipulate mind game. And the cultural, they call it, there's this ideology where it's like it goes back at you, or you did something wrong, or no, they did something wrong, but then they turned it around and make it seem like it was your fault, so, or that you deserve it. So that ideology backward game. So they'll play that, and usually they're really good at it, especially with their family members. They will bring you down. And the only thing you can do is pretty much like reserve yourself and keep your foot on the ground and say, you know what, I am successful, but I can help someone. Now, who has the potential? As I was saying earlier, you could pick one relative that has the potential, that is willing to make a change, that is willing to become somebody, and focus on that person. Because when you focus on that person, at least you're helping someone in your family member to join you at that level. The rest can catch up later. And then you can go on to the next person, and then the rest of the family that are still, in a poverty line, then you can help support them with little things like food or transportation, etc. So that was a really good comment related in that, and I really agree. And I know a little bit of what I know more in the West is, of course, the pressure is on you when you're the rich person from the family. I'd rather have someone from the West come and speak on that. But other than that, I think it's, you all understand what I'm saying. So when one person is rich from your family member, it's either they bring you down and no one is rich at all, or you just have to pick one family member who you're going to bring up as well. So that's a good comment there, you Duke William. And if you do hear what I'm saying to you right now and I'm responding to your comment, please comment based on this, because we want more clear definition from you, especially you living there in Ghana and from Nigeria. So this definitely could be a clear understanding coming from you. So I'll leave that to you too. And also, more comment here. Someone says, my question is, how long are we going to help back home? Because we have been doing it since we came here, and I'm not seeing any change. So if you watch our previous YouTube talk show, someone brought up this conversation, and it's very true. The moment we land into the United States or Canada or Australia or Europe, we immediately start helping our families until we get tired and we get burned out. So that's pretty much sets how long it will take for you to support your family, is until you burned out. Because our mindset is, as soon as we leave our country and we come here to the United States, we're like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help my mom. I'm going to help my sisters. And then you have all your aunties and uncles saying to you, when you go to America, what are you going to do for me? And then you're optimistic as a child, and you're like, I'm going to send you money so you can buy your car or taxi or whatever it is that you desire. And we start doing that, and then more demands comes onto you where it becomes a monthly thing. You're paying their rent, you're paying their food, you're paying their school, you're paying all those things. And once you feel like you're done with one family member, then the next family is like, my turn. So it depends on how big your family is. It can be a continuous thing. But like one of our guests said, we're kind of hindering their future as well. Because if we're not wise enough to choose how we want to support them financially, then pretty much we're destroying the future as well. Because like I was saying earlier, if someone doesn't value a free gift, they're not going to put value into it at all. So we have to draw a line. We have to put a line saying, okay, here's your potential, here's what you want to do, and we're going to invest on just that for this time period. So if you want to help a family member for 6 months, it's that 6 months. Help them for that 6 months. Once that 6 months is done, that's it. They have to go figure out the rest on their own. Unless if they're like really critically sick and they're in the hospital or somewhere that leads between life and death, then that's considered an emergency. And it's only going to be an emergency support at that moment specifically for that. So that's the only way to really put it into a continuous thing that has no change, because we want to see change. We already can see the future of Africa or the potential of Africa or what Africa could be, but we also have to control how we're supporting our dependents. And then other than that, we have a comment here from Myra Holton. Hi Myra, if you can hear me. And she is an American woman living here. She's a Black American. And this lady has been a wonderful follower, and I really admire her a lot. And she said, America is not heaven, but a good place to be. Oh, thank you so much. Now we have somebody totally, completely out of, the African ideology, and now giving us the true American ideology as well. So like for a lot of our Black Americans who live here in the United States as well, what they go through, what life is like here as well, is really not going to be any difference as well. Because what we experience as a diaspora who lives outside of their country, we have finally come to see what life is like for them as well. And we all come to a common culture of understanding as an American or as Black American or African American living here in this country. So her advice for all of you, this is amazing. Thank you so much, Myra, for saying this, because at least our people in Africa are not going to say, oh, okay, the African people are complaining. How come the rest of the people are not complaining? That we're speaking the truth. This is what's really happening. Yes, America is a great country. It is a great country. You can live comfortably. You can have everything you need. You'll have food. You'll have a TV. You'll have couch. You'll have everything you need. Even the way that things are constructed, you can have a nice car that gets you to work and back home. Your kids can go to a really good school, and your home can be beautiful depending on how you want to decorate it. But it's not always the mindset that we have over there that, oh, because they live good, they should be able to support us. No, it's not like that. We can actually have a good life here in America as far as like comfort. America here, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, but the consequences is on you. So everyone is based on their own will, let's just say it like that. So that's the main thing about America, is you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, but you still have to live by the system where you have a job and you have to work in order to eat. You have to work in order to have a roof over your head. You have to work in order to have a car to provide all your transportation. These are our daily lifestyle. These are the things we go through every day in taking care of ourselves and our children and our families. So it would be the same thing that people are doing in Africa as well, where you have a job, you have a home, and you have to pay bills or take care of your children's. And just leave it to that understanding that the same thing you're going through over there in Africa is the same thing we're going through here. Just the only difference is America, we have so much freedom of speech. We can pretty much dress however we want, look however we want. And we're starting to see some of those changes as well in Africa. And give it time. Pretty soon, Africa is going to be just a lot like the system here in America, where you can wear wherever you want, you can say whatever you want, and things like that. So understand that when you're asking us for help, it would be like the same thing as asking your neighbor for help. Or you go to your neighbor and say, we don't have anything to eat, can you loan me $20? Or go to a grocery store and say, can I go ahead and loan some groceries and then I'll pay you back on this day. It's like the same thing here in America, where, you know, if you're behind on bills and you need more money to cover the immediate needs, you still have to go to a loan payday or somewhere to get that extra money, or work overtime, work extra time. So I appreciate you, Myra, for bringing this up. And you know, I hope that this clears up all the answers and all the confusion over there in Africa. This message is mainly for you there in Africa. We want to let you know that we want to change our country. We want to build our country. We want to support our family and friends. But we need to have an understanding. We need to have patience. We need to gain knowledge, and we need to just work together as a team. Africa right now is building, and it's doing great. It's doing phenomenally great. Like in Ethiopia right now, we have a light rail, and we're starting to have Wi-Fi's in the home. Like, that's a huge progressive change. I bet you in a couple months from now or a year from now, the speed of network is going to be a lot faster, and you're not going to need to leave the country at all, because whatever you're leaving behind is the same thing you're going to run to here in America. So there's not that much difference. So we want to give this message to you from Temper Africa TV to let all of you all know that you're not missing out from not being in America, except if you live in a country that has a dictator leadership, or, you know, your mind is controlling how you should think, then that's a whole nother story. But other than that, you have everything you need. Be grateful, be thankful. And same thing us here. We want to be able to build a relationship with you guys. We want to be able to travel to the country, visit our families, and just have a great time with them and not be looked at as a bank. We want to be able to just enjoy the things you guys do on your normally basis. We want to be able to learn how to cook. We want to be able to walk with you. And, you know, we also like to be spoiled too. So us here as an American, if we come to your country, we would love to be spoiled. Now, that's something new, okay? And that would just open a whole different door. But anyway, let's work together as a team. Let's do what families do. Thank you to all of you that have came on live and watched this this closure of this topic, Diaspora, supporting families and friends in Africa. So continue to watch this on YouTube, and if you have any comment or you have any questions, you know, feel free to DM us or write us a message or write a comment. Your opinion matters. What you know, we want to know too. This is all about exchanging ideas and helping one another. All right, have a wonderful night. So next week, we're going to bring in a total different topic, something that is also important as well. So stay tuned for that. Have a good night.